For this crochet beanie, I'll be using a bulky weight yarn, number 5. This is Premier yarn from the Deborah Norville collection. I recommend using either a bulky 5 or a super bulky 6 to make this beanie work up really quick. And the hook size that I'll be using for this project is a 9mm. To begin this project, we're going to start by making the brim of our beanie first. So we need to start off with a slip knot and a decent sized tail, because we're going to be using that to sew our brim together. Now we will chain 7. Then we're going to skip our first chain and work in the second chain from the hook. We're going to be single crocheting in the back loops only for the brim. So here we're going to insert our hook into this back loop of our chain and work a single crochet by grabbing the working yarn and bring our hook back up, then yarn over and pull through both loops on our hook. We'll continue this across the row. Insert your hook into the back loop only, grab the working yarn, bring it back through and up, yarn over and pull through 2. And this may seem a little difficult for this initial row, but once you get a few rows in, it becomes a lot easier. Keep continuing this all the way across the row. When we get to the end of the row, we'll chain 1 and flip over our work. And then we're continuing the single crochet in the back loops only. So here's our back loop. So we'll insert our hook, grab the working yarn, yarn over, pull through 2. Continue this process of making rows until you get the brim to the diameter that you want your hat. If you're making this hat for yourself, it's super easy to wrap around your head and just test the size as you go. As you can see by working in the back loops only, we are giving this brim a ribbed look, which adds some great texture to a beanie. When you've gotten the brim size that you want, you simply cut off a long tail and tie off the yarn. So now we need to sew the 2 ends of our brim together, and I like to make sure that this is very secure, so I will use both of my tails to sew in and out. And I'll just try to find the right places that make it look as natural as can be. The thing I love about this project is that the complicated stuff comes early on in the project, and then we get to the repetitive stage, which makes the end of the project so much easier. So it really gives you that drive to finish it. I'm going to tie these yarn tails together one more time on the inside of the brim here, and then we'll weave the tails and cut them off. Now we can start working on the bulk of our hat. Once again, we need to make a slip knot. We're going to insert our hook into one of these stitches close to where our seam is, and then put the slip knot on our hook so that we can attach this working yarn to the brim. To do this, we'll simply pull our slip knot through and chain 1. For this round, we will be doing all single crochets. I will place 1 single crochet here in this space. The next one here, and repeat this process all the way around. As you can see, you're placing 1 single crochet in what appears to be in between the rows of the brim. And a single crochet in this larger chain space. I like to do a lot of my projects with a general pattern idea, but always leave room for freestyling. So as you're working this first round, if you see a place that appears to need an extra single crochet or a space that doesn't need one, you can adapt the pattern. Also, there is no count here for you, as we will each have a different amount of single crochet since we each have a different brim size. Now that we're at the end of the row, we need to join with a slip stitch. So we're going to insert our hook into our beginning chain, grab our working yarn, and pull it through both of these. And then we can begin on our next row. For the rest of the hat, we'll be doing half double crochets. But first we need to move up a row. And when we tend to move up in hats, there's a very obvious seam. And I like to work mine with a more subtle seam. So this is how I do it. Whenever we move up, we're going to do a single crochet straight into the spot that we just did our slip stitch. So we'll insert our hook, pull up our working yarn, yarn over, and pull through both loops on the hook. And sometimes it's a little tight there, and that's normal. We're now going to be working half double crochets in all the stitches of the previous row. To do that, yarn over Insert your hook into the stitch, bring up the working yarn, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Once again, we'll yarn over, insert our hook into the stitch, grab the working yarn, and pull it up, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. We'll continue this all the way around, then just keep repeating this row until you get the hat to the height that you'd like. I'll meet up with you there and we'll make a few more rows after that to close our hat up. Now that we have our hat's desired height, it's time to start decreasing. So I continue like regular and bring up my row and do my single crochet in the first spot. If you're finding value in this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when I release other video tutorials. To start decreasing, we will yarn over, insert our hook into the next stitch, and bring up a loop. Then yarn over. And instead of pulling it through all those loops on our hook and finishing that stitch, we're going to go straight into the next stitch and grab the working yarn and pull it up. We now have 5 loops on our hook and we're going to yarn over and pull through all 5 loops on our hook. So basically we have turned the 2 half double crochet stitches from the previous row into 1 half double crochet stitch for this row. I'm going to keep doing that all the way around. So once again, yarn over, insert the hook, bring up the working yarn, yarn over, insert into the next stitch, bring up the working yarn, yarn over, and then pull through all 5 loops on your hook. And if you end up with an extra stitch at the end of the round, just do 1 regular half double crochet before you slip stitch and close that round. We'll do our slip stitch to join and then move up the same way we did before. As I'm working this, you can see how it's closing up. Then we'll do the same process for this row of decreasing so that we're turning 2 half double crochets into 1 half double crochet. I'm going to repeat this type of row one more time. If you're making a smaller hat, you may not need to do it. If you're making a larger hat, you may need to make 2 more rows. You'll have to be the judge of that. After this round, I'll begin to cinch it up. It really is a personal preference. You could have cinched it up without decreasing, but you're going to have more bulk at the top of your hat. Where I want more of a tight-fitting beanie, so I'm trying to close it up as much as I can with a decrease before I cinch it. Now that I've decreased as much as I wanted, I'm going to cut off a long tail to begin the cinching. And to begin that, I'm basically just weaving in my yarn here and there to close up the hole. And I believe I've done that enough here and everything looks good. So I'm going to send my yarn down through the middle of my hat and start working on the inside. I'll tie it off a few times in here and then I'll weave in the tail and cut off the excess yarn. Depending on the size of the hat you made, the size of the skein of yarn, or if you have an extra yarn in a different color, you could add a pom-pom on top like I did. Some people like their beanies with a pom-pom, some don't like the pom-poms, but I'll show you how to do that quick and easy with this thick bulky yarn. There's no need for a cardboard cutout or a pom-pom maker. So loosely wrap it around your hand. You may want to spread your fingers out a bit and to make it a little larger, I just try to keep it loose because it will kind of tighten around your fingers the more you go. And also, since we're just doing this with our hand, we're going to have an uneven pom-pom and we're going to have to trim it a lot, but that's okay for me to get this done quick and easy without the use of any extra tools. Well, this would be quick and easy if I didn't have my yarn so knotted up. And at the end here, you're going to want to cut off a large tail. And actually in this video, I made too short of a tail, so go a little bit longer than this. Then we're going to take that tail and wrap it around all of the yarn. So I kind of thread it here through in between my two middle fingers. And we're bundling it up with this large tail of yarn. So we want to tie it as tight as we can, and on both sides, and I like to double knot it as well. Just make sure that's nice and secure. We just need to cut through these loops, and once we get all these loops, we'll trim it up to make it a little bit more even, and then we'll attach it to the top of our hat. And to do that, I'll bring those tails down into the top of the hat and tie it in there real secure. And that's all you need to do, and your hat is done. I hope you enjoyed crocheting this quick and easy beanie with me. If you love making beanies different ways, check out this video for a tutorial on that. Thanks for watching, and have a great day, everyone.